StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you're expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself. It's going to make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques, all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that's called work on your game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is FOBI, FOBI. That stands for the fear of buying in. That is the topic here today. Before we get into it, let me give you two housekeeping things. Number one, send out a text message every single day, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. I call it the daily motivation. You can get that message straight to your phone every single day. Also, I send a Monday motivation every Monday, every week, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point to start your week. You can get either message. All you got to do is text me. It's free to get into my text community. You got to be in the community to get either one of these messages. Just text me at this number, 305-384-6894, and you can choose how often you want to hear from me because, hey, maybe for some of you, being focused, sharp, and on point to start the day every day might be a little bit of overkill. Maybe you don't want to be focused, sharp, and on point every day. Maybe you just want to be like that once a week. You got your options. Just text me at my number, and we'll tell you what you can do from there. Secondly, work on your game university. Any of you has ever wondered, Dre, do you do any type of coaching? Is there a way that I can work with you further? How do I go deeper into your world? I appreciate what you put out here so much. How can I go further? The answer is work on your game university. And work on your game university is, again, the only place that I do any coaching, the only place I work with anybody directly. If and when you are ready to take yourself to the next level, which is going to require, let me be clear with you, it's going to require you doing some things differently. It's going to require you getting rid of some things that you are currently doing. It's going to require you adding some things that you are currently not doing. You're ready for that? Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com and you can find out. First of all, you can schedule a time to get on a call with me or somebody on my team, talk about where you're at, where you want to go, what you think is in your way, and we'll tell you what it looks like from there. So again, that link and the number, excuse me, to text me are down below in the description to this episode, wherever you're consuming this. Let's get into this topic, FOBI, fear of buying in. Now, this is a play on the concept of FOMO, FOMO. For those who don't know what that is, FOMO is the fear of missing out. So the fear of missing out is something that is used. It works psychologically on human beings that when they feel like they're going to miss out on something, you can move them to action. Like, I don't want to miss out on that, so let me go do the thing that prevents me from missing out. So the fear of buying in is a kind of the inverse of this, where this fear of buying in is the thing that keeps people from taking action and doing things like we talked about yesterday, using your money to buy time. So this is something that a lot of people don't do. They don't use their money to buy time because they have this phobia, the fear of buying in. And we're going to talk about this from a different perspective than from which we would talk about FOMO, which is something that a lot of people have talked about many times over the years. Doesn't mean I won't ever talk about it, but phobia is one that I made up, so I get credit for this one. So let's talk about this from this angle, because this is what I feel. I don't feel FOMO, fear of missing out, is what slows a lot of people down. Usually FOMO is used to make people go and do something, whereas phobia is the thing that actually stops you from doing something. So we want to talk about the things that are stopping you. We get these out of the way, then you can start moving forward a whole lot faster. Get it? Point number one. Topic, once again, is phobia, fear of buying in. All right, this is why we stay in our comfort zone. This phobia, this fear of buying in, is the reason why most people remain in their comfort zones for all of their adult lives. And the reason people stay in their comfort zones is not because they don't know that there is opportunity outside of their comfort zone. Most people are logically conscious of the fact that there is opportunity outside of their normal modus operandi, their normal mode of operation, that they did something different. There will be other things that happen. Most people logically understand that. That doesn't mean they're going to do it, but they understand it. And many people stay in their comfort zones not because they are incapable of stepping outside of their comfort zone. People who never get out of their comfort zones, those of you who have been stuck in your ways for the last 5, 10, 30 years, it's not because you are incapable of doing something different, but you're not doing anything different, but it's not because you can't do something different. The reason people stay in their comfort zones all of their lives is because they are consciously or unconsciously afraid of what would happen if they did something outside of their normal mode of operation. If they stepped outside of their habits, if they did anything that went out of their comfort zones. This is the reason why people don't make changes. This is the reason why people don't move forward, because they're afraid of the change. They're afraid of the difference that would occur in their lives, because there will be a difference. Step outside of your comfort zone, do something you don't normally do, something's going to change. There will be something that happens. And most people are afraid of that unknown. They rather stick with the known mediocrity than the unknown possibility. And this is why people don't change. This fear, these thoughts and beliefs about what might happen or what could happen, hold people back much more than anything tangible holds people back. You see, if you ask most people, if you ask yourself, what's the number one thing holding you back from the success that you want to achieve right now? What's the answer? What answer do you give? You have to give your top three. What are the top three things holding you back from the success that you want to achieve right now? In my experience, and the people that I talk to, usually it's three things. One is money, another one is time, another one is information. I don't have the money, so I can't do this thing, this thing, and this thing. And if I did those things, then everything would change. So money is the thing holding them back, according to them. I don't have the time. If I had more time, then I would just do all this stuff that I'm not doing right now, and then everything would change, according to them. Or I don't have the information. People usually don't say it in that way. They say, I just don't know what to do. I need somebody to help me. I need somebody to coach me. I need somebody to tell me. If somebody told me what to do, then I could, get to where I want to get to. I just don't have the time. I don't have the money. I don't have the information. Usually, it's one of those three things. Somebody may say access, which is similar to information. Just I can't get to a thing, or I don't know how to get to a thing. Access is usually kind of a combination of time, money, and information. If you had time, money, and information, you can get access, right? But these are all tangible things. And when I say tangible, I don't mean you can hold them in your hand. You can't hold time in your hand or information. When I say tangible, meaning it's something that people can point to and you can count it. That's what I mean when I say tangible. Something you can count. You can count the fact, and we can lay out the fact that you don't know how to get a book published. We can look at the fact that you only have 3 hours a day to dedicate to your business rather than somebody else having 10 hours a day to dedicate to their business. We can look at the fact you got this much money in your bank account as opposed to a little bit more money in your bank account. So we can at least objectively measure these things. So when I say tangible, that's what I mean. But what I am countering that with is this point that the main thing that holds people back is not any of these things that we can measure. It's something that we can't measure, which is your fear and trepidation over going outside of your comfort zone. That's the real thing that's slowing you down. It is not these measurable things like information, money, or access. Those are convenient excuses, but those are not the things that are keeping people from doing anything different. Again, it sounds good, but it's not actually true. Most people are, again, afraid of what things will look like if they step outside of their comfort zone. See, to buy in, because we're talking about the fear of buying in means there's going to be change, and many people are extremely afraid of change. Most of you are more afraid of change than you are short on time. Most of you are more afraid of change than you are short on money. Most of you are more afraid of change than you are short on information and access. And I'm saying those things to say this. If you think the main thing in your way is a lack of time, money, or information, I am saying no, it's not. The main thing in your way is your fear of what would happen if you bought in. So you conveniently turn to the excuses that we can count. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have the information. I don't know what to do. Those all sound good, and they are generally accepted by most of the people who you talk to on a daily basis. They'll accept, oh, I ain't got the money. I ain't got the time. I have the information. So that means I guess I can't do anything. Let me just stay in my comfort zone. Hey, nothing I can do about that, right? All right, that sounds really good. That's not the real reason. Let's move on to point number two. Today's topic, once again, is the fear of buying in. Number two. See, buying in requires a breaking of your inertia. What is inertia? Inertia is something that we talked about in, let me pull the episode up where I talked about the law of inertia. So for those of you who haven't listened to episode 2466, go reference that episode. That's where I talked about the law of inertia. The law of inertia states an object in motion shall remain in motion, an object not in motion shall remain not in motion until or unless acted upon by an outside force. In other words, human beings tend to keep doing the same thing that we've always done until or unless something forces us to change our behavior. That's what the law of inertia states. In order for you to change in life, you must break out of your inertia. Again, speaking of what I said in the point number one, human beings will go to ridiculous extremes to remain the same. Let me repeat that. Human beings will go to ridiculous extremes to remain the same and avoid change. And trust me, I've seen it. I've heard it. I can give you myriad examples of people telling me things, doing things that seem completely inexplicable, completely illogical, just so they could remain in the same place and not do something different just because people are creatures of habit. I'll give you an example here. This is a funny example, but it's a good one. My freshman year in college, we're in basketball practice, and I had a teammate named Steve. Steve was a good guy. He was a year ahead of me. And Steve he was like a big man, so he played the center position. It's pretty much the only position he could play. Steve was not a highly skilled player, but he was a useful player for the team that we had, the roster that we had. He was looked at as a leader. At this school that I was at the time, Penn State Abington was the school I was at. At the time, you only played 2 years. So Steve was a second year player, so that basically was an upperclassman based on the criteria at the time. And Steve, whenever he would get the ball, he could only dribble with his right hand. Steve did not have the ability to go to his left. His zero ability to go to his left. And he wasn't interested in kind of learning how to go to his left. So I remember one day in practice, our coach was a guy named Mo. Coach Mo. His name is Maurice, but they called him Mo. And Coach Mo he jumped into practice, not really jumped into practice, but he was guarding Steve on defense. And we're running this play where Steve would get the ball. He would have to make a move and try to score. So he did his move and tried to score a couple times on Coach Mo. And then Coach Mo just wanted to test something out. So one time, Coach Mo is guarding Steve. Steve gets the ball. And as I told you, Steve couldn't go to his left. So Coach Mo jumped all the way to Steve's right, to where the driving lane to the left was wide open. He could just go left and basically have zero resistance to easily get to the rim and score. And Coach Mo jumped all the way to Steve's right, to where he had the only logical things for Steve to do was to go left. And Steve, he habitually, it was instinctive. He dribbled all the way around Coach Mo to his right and then made a layup. And everybody in the gym laughed. And it was fun. And even Steve laughed while he was doing it because it was so obvious that Steve just did not have the ability to go to his left. And I'm giving you that example just to illustrate this point that some of you, that's what you're doing. It was as silly as it looked for Steve to dribble all the way around the defender just so he could go right when there was a wide open lane for him to go left. That's how some of you look and some of you sound with some of the things that I've heard and seen from people who will do anything just to stick to your habits and stay in your comfort zone and not break the inertia in your own life. Ridiculous extremes to not change, to maintain their inertia. See, the fact of the matter is, many people are extremely closed-minded to anything that sounds like or smells like it is going to pull you outside of your current modes of thinking, let alone your current modes of acting. Because see, if you don't change your thoughts, you're not going to change your actions. So the thinking leads to everything else. Okay. This is the reason why I continually emphasize that mindset is a foundation of what we do here at Work on Your Game. The reason why I talk about mindset so much, the reason it's a foundation of what I do, is because if you don't change the way that you think, then your behaviors are not even eligible to change. If you don't change the way that you think, your behaviors are not eligible for change. You can't change your behaviors without changing your thoughts. That's why the thought process comes first. Actions come second. The results come third. Those of you who can catch that. That is be, do, have. In that order. This is why in Work on Your Game University, we have a 4-part framework, and it goes in a particular order for a reason. Mindset, strategy, systems, accountability. Mindset, change the way you think first. Strategy, what are we going to do? Those are the actions. That comes second. System, how do we do the same stuff over and over again? That comes third. Accountability, how do we make sure everything's doing what it's supposed to do? That comes fourth. That's what we do in Work on Your Game University. There's a reason why those go in that certain order. I did not just make that up randomly. And it's interesting because I talk to a lot of people who feel like their biggest challenge is, well, I just want to make more money, or I want to make some money. They have a business challenge, they have a tangible challenge, and they say, well, yeah, I have a tangible challenge, and you're talking about mindset. Well, see, here's the thing: you're not going to fix that tangible challenge without changing the way that you think, because see, the way that you think got you to the point that you have a tangible challenge. The way that you think led to the actions that got you here, where you are today, to where you have a tangible challenge. The tangible challenge you have is a reflection of your actions, and your actions are a reflection of your thoughts. So, in other words, if we want to change your actions, we got to go backwards. We got to change your thoughts first, then we can change the actions, then we'll change the results. See, when you understand that, then it makes sense why mindset comes first. And there are many of you listening to this right now who think, oh, I don't need any help with mindset. I'm good on mindset. I just need help with how to do this thing. No, you need help with mindset, because how to do this thing that you don't know how to do is based in the fact that your mind hasn't wrapped itself around a different way of thinking. That's why you're stuck right now. That's why you're in the position that you're in right now, because of the way that you think. That's led to what you've done, and that's led to where you're at. Everything is interconnected. These things do not work independently. Everybody understand what I'm saying here? If you're not open-minded to the possibility of things being different in your life, nothing that I or anybody else says to you is going to change your behavior. See, somebody who's listening to me right now is open to changing your behavior based on what you're hearing me say here, and you're going to work on yourgameuniversity.com and saying, all right, let me find out what's going on over here, because I know I need to do something different. And what Dre just said makes sense. There's somebody else listening to this, probably more people listening to this right now, and you are not open-minded to things changing in your life. You want everything to stay exactly the same, and that's completely fine. I'm not mad at you for it, but I am letting you know, I'm just informing you, nothing in your life is going to change. If you're okay with that, I'm okay with it. All right. Some people are okay with everything staying exactly as it is, and I'm not mad at you for that. All right. You are who you are. It's your life. You get to do what you want to do with it. My job is to just provide you with the information of, hey, if you do this, this is going to happen. If you don't do this, then this is going to happen. That's how it's going. I'm just letting you know how it's going to go. Now, what you choose to do with it is your choice. I'm giving you options, so you can't. When you get to the pearly gates of heaven, you can't go to God and say nobody told me. Nobody gave me the information. I never had an opportunity. God's gonna say, "Wait, weren't you listening to that show called Work on Your Game by Dre Baldwin?" Okay, so that's a lie. All right, you had the information. All right, you just chose to. You did what you did with it, or you didn't do what you didn't do with it. But you can never say you were never told. No human being, ladies and gentlemen, can perform for a consistent period of time at a level that is incongruent with the way he or she sees him or herself. I shall repeat. No human being can perform consistently at a level that is different from which he or she sees himself. You cannot perform in a way that's different from how you see yourself for an extended period of time, maybe for a short period of time, but not extended. So we all know what inertia is, right? I already told you that objects remain where they are until acted upon by an outside force. Question: are you willing to change your current state? Are you willing to allow yourself to be changed? Are you willing to change your state, or are you willing to allow yourself to be changed? And again, most of the time, here's what I'll tell you happens. And in my line of work, I know this very well. Most of the time, when someone's in a dire straits, when things are really, really not working to the point that it touches them, not just logically, but emotionally, like, damn, this really is not working. What I'm doing is really not producing the outcome that I wanted to produce. Usually around that point, that's when people are open to doing things differently. But then when it comes time to act, they're open to it. Okay, so they're open to it, like their brain is open to doing things differently. Then when it comes time for them to actually commit to doing something different, it comes time to actually do the different thing, not just think about it and talk about it, but actually do it. That's when they go screaming back to their comfort zone, back to the safety of their comfort zone, because when they realize what it actually entails to change, they're like, you know what, maybe I can stick with this mediocre known situation, this mediocre known inertia, rather than this unknown possibility of being a lot better. Let me just go back to what I'm comfortable with. This is what most people do. And trust me, I've had enough conversations with enough people to know what I'm talking about here. This is a truth. I'm not going to call it a fact, but it's a truth. And truth is a higher level than a fact. So the question is, are you willing to change your current state? Are you willing to allow it to be changed? Most people are not willing. Most people will say they're willing until it comes time to actually do it. As the saying goes, everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what a beast does, right? People are only willing to make small incremental changes that allow them to hold on to where they currently are while taking small steps that challenge their current position. Already told you all the downside of baby steps. You know the downside of taking a baby step and you have a baby? All right. Downside of taking the baby steps is that baby steps are small, slow, and inconsistent. You can't depend on a baby step. You can't send your baby to walk 3 miles and come back. All right. Why? Because it will take them too long. Number one, they'll get tired. Number two, number three, they don't have a strong sense of direction. Number four, their steps are so small, even if they had the right direction and didn't get tired, it would take them too damn long because their legs ain't long enough. All right. You don't want to depend on baby steps. Talked about this in episode 2685. Many of you are grown men and women taking baby steps and wondering why you don't have the outcomes you want. Many of you are grown men and women taking baby steps and wondering why you don't have the outcomes that you want. Because you're taking baby steps. That's why it's not working. The problem with this process, again, of baby steps is that it will take you too long to get to your desired outcome. That's why inertia must be broken. You don't massage inertia. You don't stretch inertia. You break inertia. Meaning you go way outside to break inertia. You don't slowly, gently, calmly, one baby step at a time, one small bite at a time, break inertia. No, you break it. You completely break it. You ever seen I seen this video on social media where some guys had tried to rob a store, but it was like a mom and pop operation. So the people working there like actually owned the store. These are not corporate employees. And they start fighting back and they start beating up the robbers, smashing glass bottles on these guys' heads. And again, this is all on video. The security footage, they were showing it. And the whole thing is, so you break inertia the way you break a glass bottle. All right, you don't massage a break into a glass bottle. No, you smash the damn bottle. You got to smash it. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is FOBI, the fear of buying in, also known as FOBI. Number 3, it's the fear of ignorance. Many of you fear your own ignorance. When I say you fear your own ignorance, what I mean is, because there are people also who are very arrogant in their own ignorance. They don't know things, but they're arrogant in the little bit they do know. But I'm talking about the fear of ignorance, meaning, see, when you buy into something and you're going to do something different, you step into a space where you're no longer the expert. That's what happens when you buy in. You step into a space in which you're no longer the expert. And when you step outside of your comfort zone into it, doing something different that you've never done before, well, you ain't the guy or the girl anymore because you don't know everything anymore, right? That's what happens. You are doing something you haven't done before. Now you are plagued by your own ignorance. Hopefully, however, when you buy in, you are buying in with someone who you trust who will guide you along the way. That can be the form of a coach or a trainer or somebody who's been where you're trying to go. Challenge for many people is that they would rather stay in their comfort zone and be an expert at the mediocrity in which you currently exist than step outside of your comfort zone and be ignorant in a place of opportunity. Many people would rather be an expert in mediocrity than be an idiot in a place of opportunity. This is the reason why many people don't get better. Many people rather throw away an opportunity so you can be an expert at mediocrity. But if you grasp the opportunity, you had to be ignorant for a while in order to realize your goals. Again, this is another reason why people don't grow, don't get better. You see, a lot of you think you're not growing and getting better because you lack some kind of tangible resource. Bullshit. It has nothing to do with it. Zero. Your lack of growth has nothing to do with the fact that you don't have money or that you don't have time or that you got kids or whatever other bullshit excuse that you're giving that sounds good, but it ain't the truth. Real reason you're not getting better is because there is something mentally in your way. And until you get that thing out of your way, you're going to keep having the same problem. Period. Are you willing to be vulnerable, ignorant, and the dumbest person in the room for a temporary period of time in exchange for the opportunity to actually reach your goals? Are you willing to be the dumbest person in the room for a temporary period of time in exchange for reaching your goals? See, this is one of the problems that I have with the educational system in America. I got a bunch of problems with it, but this is one of them. And I already laid out the American educational system scam back in episode number 199, scam that is the American education system. But one of the issues I have with it is that the education system in America teaches kids that having all the right answers is the key to success. I mean, if you think about it, who's the most decorated person at a school graduation? Is the kid who got the highest grades. How do you get the highest grades in school? By having all the answers to the questions, right? You answer all the questions right, you get an A. You get straight A's, you make the list, whatever list, the honor roll, the dean's list, valedictorian, whatever they call it. I can tell I wasn't doing it that often, right? That's what happens when you get all the right answers. But see, in life is not about the right answers. Life is about the right questions. See, in real life, having the answers, not having answers rather, also known as ignorance, and asking the right questions is the actual key to success. That's the key to insights. That's the key to breakthroughs. Asking the right questions, not having all the answers. This is why a lot of people who do really good in school get straight A's. Notice most of them don't become the business moguls and the people who create new breakthroughs. They become good employees for those business moguls. Why? Because they're focused on Those people who got good grades in school are focused on having all the right answers, so they usually end up somewhere in the middle of when you talk about the success ladder. They end up somewhere in the middle. The people at the top are the people who weren't focused on having all the right answers. They were asking questions that maybe the people in charge didn't even want them asking. So then they become entrepreneurs. They go and do their own thing in their own way, and that's where change comes from. Change for the world, that is, not only for themselves but for the world. Let's recap today's class, which is the fear of buying in. So FOBI is the opposite, is the inverse, not the opposite, but the inverse of FOMO. FOMO usually moves people to do stuff because they don't want to miss out. FOBI moves people to do nothing because they're afraid of getting involved. Number one, this is why we stay in our comfort zone. Many people don't stay in their comfort zones. Many people stay in their comfort zones not because they don't know that there's opportunity on the other side, or they can't see that there's something else that could happen, but because they have convenient excuses: time, money, information, access. None of those are the real reason that you're not moving forward. Number two, this requires a breaking of inertia. FOBI, you have to break your inertia. To buy in, you must break inertia. Inertia does not get massaged or slowly cracked or opened. It gets broken like a glass bottle. It is either broken or it's not. And point number three, fear of ignorance. The reason many people stay in the same space is because they don't want to feel ignorant. They're not willing to be the dumbest person in the room. They want to hold on to their fragile ego and continue to massage their ego so that they can feel important in the space where they're surrounded by people who are not even thinking about the level that you are thinking about getting to, but y'all are all in the same spot right now simply because you're not willing to break your inertia. Challenge for many people is that they'd rather stay in their comfort zone and be an expert there than step outside of their comfort zone and be a dummy over there. And that unwillingness is the reason why many people don't move forward. So you thought your reason not moving forward was some type of tangible thing like money, assets, income, access, time. None of those are the things that's actually slowing you down. Slowing you down is your own mind. Change your mind, you change your actions. Change your actions, change your results. That's it. All that said, text me on number 305-384-6894. And you got the option with the daily motivation, also the Monday motivation, every day, every Monday, respectively. Secondly, workonyourgameuniversity.com. You want to be coached by me directly, that's the only place to do it. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link is down below in the description. Work on your game. Dre